Well, you might have heard that Dolly Parton is going to be performing in Mississippi, in Philadelphia, in fact, and it may just end up being one of the biggest events that Philadelphia has ever seen. One of the people who is responsible for that is the person who is helping kind of revitalize a theater there in Philadelphia that you might not have heard of. It's the Ellis Theater. And Marty Stuart is also largely responsible, I should say mostly responsible, for Marty Stuart's Congress of Country Music. And that is what the event is all about. Marty Stuart is here with us. If you don't know Marty Stuart's country career, well, you need to go back and get you a few LPs and listen. He's had a decades-long career in country music and has worked with people like Johnny Cash and is a native of Neshoba County. Marty, how did you get somebody like Dolly to come to the Ellis Theater and perform?
Well, quite simply, Dolly's kind of like family, and I've leaned on a lot of my friends, starting with season one, to come out to Philadelphia and help kickstart the Ellis Theater and the Congress of Country Music concept. And Dolly understands when people are trying to get things up and running. She understands the importance of what's happening in Neshoba County, and it wasn't hard at all. I just went and laid it out to her, and she says, "Well, I don't tour anymore, but I think I better come do this." So I was honored that she said yes.
Well, I want to help people realize what the Congress of Country Music is all about because this is something that is probably going to be very important in not just the world of country music, but also in Mississippi and Mississippi's cultural climate. How did the Congress of Country Music get started?
I always wondered what I was going to do with my 20,000 plus piece collection of country music treasures, Smithsonian level treasures. And I fell in love with what's going on in the state several years back. I noticed that seemingly the spiritual home of rock and roll was Tupelo, at Elvis's birthplace. B.B. King's place over in the Delta took care of the blues, along with the Clarksdale Blues Museum. When the Grammys came and put a beautiful facility on the campus of Delta State, I thought this is really happening down here. Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience down in Meridian and the Jimmy Rogers Museum. So I had gone to Indianola to spend the day with B.B. King to help him out at his place to raise funds. On the way out of Indianola, I thought, I know what I'm supposed to do with my whole world of country music. So going, taking it back home to Philadelphia and establishing, to me, the spiritual home of country music in the Magnolia State with the Congress of Country Music. So will be, I call it my Hillbilly Presidential Library, but in reality, it is a cultural center and a destination for the furtherance and preservation of country music. Phase one was the renovation of the Old Town Theater, the Ellis Theater, and it is absolutely gorgeous, world class, world class. We're about to get into phase two, building the exhibit and educational component. But it has been a long journey. It has been a great journey, but I'm with you. I think it will be a touchstone for the state. I think it'll be a beacon for the nation because on opening weekend, people came from 6 different countries and all over the United States of America to witness the revitalization and the relaunch of the Ellis Theater.
I think that begs a couple of questions. Number one, how did you get into collecting and amass a collection of 20,000 artifacts?
Well, when bands would come through Neshoba County when I was a kid, whether they played at the Neshoba County Fair or the Choctaw Indian Fair or out on the edge of town, there was a gospel music facility. I would, buy records, get people to autograph them, ask musicians for their guitar picks or whatever. And when I went to Nashville, I started noticing that those kind of things were just kind of readily available, and I just actually collected them as souvenirs. I'm a fan. But as time went on, I started noticing that when the world of country music started changing, the costumes and the manuscripts, the personal effects, instruments of all the old masters were starting to appear in junk stores in Nashville and music stores, thrift shops, vintage clothing stores. And it just looked wrong to me because those were the people that raised me. So I started a self-appointed mission to collect as much of that stuff as I could. just to keep it out of those kind of places and to give it a dignified surrounding. So it started in my bedroom, and now we're building the Congress of Country Music around it.
One of my favorite items that you own now is Clarence White's guitar from the Byrds, the B. Bender Telecaster. I've seen you play it on your RFD TV show with Roger McGuinn from the Byrds. I was explaining to this audience a couple of weeks ago just who that is, and that he is going to be part of the lineup this season. I'm excited about that.
Well, Dolly Parton helps, start it, but if you look down through the lineup of season 2, Roger McGuinn, Winona, the Del McCurry Band. I'm just off the top of my head here. The Mississippi Mass Choir, Bobby Rush's 90th birthday party, John Anderson. I'm losing it here. Ashley McBride, the Isaacs. It's Wynton Marsalis and the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. Turner Classic Movies is coming to town to show a film. The Library of Congress is hosting its first annual film festival. So it's amazing that Neshoba County has all this going on, but it's happening. It's happening.
How do you get something like this done? I mean, you're getting started last year. This is the second season, and this lineup, like you were saying, I mean, Bobby Rush's 90th birthday, your own birthday that you're going to be celebrating there at the theater. How do you get something like this organized?
Well, my phone book's pretty vast, and it's pretty interesting in there. So, as I say, I'm leaning on a lot of my friends and the kind of people that will play the Ellis Theater are acts that are up and coming, and people, we just started a run last night with Chris Stapleton, and people like Chris and Dolly who have been there, done that, understand the importance of what's trying to happen in Mississippi. Those are the kind of acts that will come there. So I stayed on the phone a whole lot, making a lot of phone calls, and I think I could get a job as a booking agent if I needed to.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job. I think one thing people need to understand about the way that you operate is that it crosses barriers. You're not just a country music artist. There are elements of blues in what you do. There are elements of rock and roll in what you do, and that I think translates to the kind of lineup that you're bringing to Mississippi this year.
Well, I tell you what. When you drive across the state line, it says, "Welcome to Mississippi, the birthplace of America's music." And I stand on that as a creative legacy. And it gives me the license to play country music, which is what I really do. But it also gives me the license to love rock and roll and jazz and gospel and classical music and bluegrass and folk music and cowboy music. So country music has broad shoulders, and thanks to my Mississippi roots, they're even broader.
Yeah, so it all started in Mississippi, but you've had an incredible career. You got to play with Johnny Cash. You've been just a stalwart in the Nashville country music scene. After all of this, what is your absolutely most favorite memory? What's the thing that you look back on and say, I loved doing this best?
I don't know. I don't know that I could answer that honestly. I could tell you this before I brought all my collection down to Neshoba County from Nashville. I had thousands of vinyl records that I had to make a decision. Do I want to cart all of those records down to Mississippi, or do I want to do something with them? So I actually donated them to the Library of Congress. And the ones that I kept was my original record collection and the family record collection from, when I was a kid down in Philadelphia. And I look back on everything that's been accomplished. It's amazing to me that the first appearance on WLBT TV with the Sullivan Family Gospel Singers when I was just getting started with my mandolin, or the first record collection, my first guitar that I owned when I cut yards to pay for it, or my first Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison Records. I still have all that stuff, but it's amazing to me that after all this time, those are the things that mean the most to me. And it's been an amazing journey.
Well, is there anything that I haven't asked that you think it's important to point out about this season at the Ellis or the Congress of Country Music? It's looking like it's going to be something that people are going to enjoy for a long time.
I can't wait till this is done. That's the hardest part. In the state of Mississippi, has been so supportive. If it weren't for legislature and the House giving us, gobs of money, this would still be in the dirt. So they have been so supportive. I can't wait till this is done, so all the people of Mississippi and people from the nation and the world can come in and see what all the shouting's about down in Mississippi. And if somebody's watching this that is just now making their first trip to Mississippi, dig in, dig in. We're deep, and I'm honored to be a son of Mississippi.
Marty Stuart, you're a busy man. I thank you for taking the time to talk to us about this endeavor.
All the best, my friend. Thank you.